right, Shauna, I want to welcome you so much to Boomx Beauty Beat. How's it going?
Great. Thank you
Good.
so much for having me. I feel extremely honored out of all of the women that you have have been selected. So thank you so much for your generosity.
Oh my gosh, of course. Your your email to me and your information blew my mind. You know, I come from a makeup background. I was a makeup artist for, well, in and around 27 years, 28 years, something like that. And I injured my back. I can't do it anymore. I started this channel as a beauty channel, and it's morphed into, a beauty lifestyle, self-help channel, and helping women in business is just right up my alley. So I want to just brag on you for a minute, if you let me indulge just for a second, okay? Just so you guys know a little bit about Shauna. She's an Emmy-winning FX makeup artist with over 27 years experience in film. You're an innovator behind a manual. I'm guessing that's the permanent makeup manual. Is that the idea?
No, manual. My manual technique is a technique that I created.
Wow.
I fully created. It took me 6 years in the making to come up with this technique. In the world of SMP, cosmetic tattooing, there is no manual technique, meaning by hand technique that has been out there for scalps, and everything's being done with a machine. And after having situations where I ran out of power or needed a quick fix or something along that line, I just ended up creating this technique, testing different needles to the point where I've now had my own needles manufactured specifically to what I wanted. And now I'm able to teach this to students around the world. So it's going to slowly shape and help to fill the voids in the SMP industry where there has been no option of doing hand techniques. So
what does SMP stand for again?
Scalp micropigmentation.
Okay, thank you for that. Mic drop. I mean, we'll just stop the interview right now because, I mean, geez Louise, can you imagine how much intensity that would be to write a manual on something so detailed, so precise, and that you have to be, it's really blowing my mind that you've done that. Now, you founded beautyink in 2008, right?
Sure did.
And you focus on, and this just gets crazier, you focus on people with disabilities, disorders, and illnesses in your permanent makeup. I was watching one of your videos, and I'm not going to be able to pronounce this word, and you could kind of explain it. It was a lady that had a
Trichotillomania.
Thank you for that. And I was literally bawling at the end of the video. You guys, I'll link your YouTube channel below. You guys have got to go and watch this. Can you explain what that is and a little bit about the disability aspect of it and what you do with that?
So trichotillomania is a disorder very similar in the scope of bulimia, anorexia, OCD. It's basically where someone compulsively pulls out their hair, and it can be eyelashes, eyebrows, head hair, and it's so compulsive to the point where I have clients that literally do it in their sleep. So they are sleeping and they are ripping out their eyebrows to the point where their skin is bleeding.
Oh my goodness.
So it can be very very intense. It can be very mild, where they're just literally just pulling out their eyelashes, or it can be literally where they're pulling out yards of their hair and creating holes in the head. And it is very subconscious. A lot of people will do this when they're not noticing, like maybe when they're driving, very similar to biting the nails. And most of the time with the clients that I've worked with, it's rooted in deep-seated trauma. So it's something that until they work through the trauma, are they able to stop doing this? And it could be anything from, oh, my brother teased me about my long eyelashes the whole time I was a child, or I was molested, or I was abused by my father, or my mother used to ridicule me, So it's just, it can morph in many, many different ways, but the result of it is they're pulling out their hair. And so it's something, you know, that if you can give back a little sense of their visual appearance, whether it's eyeliner tattooing, eyebrow tattooing, or scalp tattooing, it can actually reverse the effects, and they can calm that compulsion down.
Wow.
Because they're not seeing the variation in the area that they're attacking. So
we're such complex creatures, aren't we? Geez. Are there other disabilities that you notice and that you've kind of passionate about working with?
Yes. Well, of course, cancer, right? Because I've lost 6 family members to cancer. And sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Okay. I'm a very open book, so I get very emotional easily.
I'll cry with you, believe me.
And my mother's had breast cancer twice, so going through that whole everything from, you know, the chemotherapy to the radiation to the hair loss to the skin change to the nail changes to watching them disseminate in front of you, like it just really hit my heart. And when I found out about cosmetic tattooing, that was where I really wanted to gravitate to, and why I have so heavily trained in the industry so that I can be able to maneuver and work with all of these people. I work with people that have Tourette's, where they're like this.
Yeah.
They're always moving,
Wow.
or Parkinson's, where they're shaking all the time and they can't put on, like their hands don't stop moving, so they can't physically put makeup on. People with Graves' disease, thyroid disorder, where their hair literally falls out. Parkinson's, of course, cerebral palsy. I have quite a few clients that have cerebral palsy. MS is another one. And the reason why I really wanted to cater to these specific clients is because they are put on the back burner. Very few hair facilities are wheelchair accessible. Very few clothing stores are wheelchair accessible. We don't think about it because we're able bodies. But if you're disabled and you're running around in a scooter and you can't get this or that or reach for things, like their daily life is so impacted that I really wanted to focus on these people, because they deserve to look pretty too. They deserve to feel confident too. They deserve to have someone that caters towards them, so they're not feeling like an outcast from society. So it's really important that my facility, where I am in my location, is wheelchair accessible. I'm in a very unique building, and it allows for wheelchair accessibility, so they can literally drive in with their scooter. They can drive right up to the, where I do my consultation. If I need to move them, I do have people that are quadriplegics where I cannot move them from their chairs, but I'm able to generally move them from one station to another, or I just work with them in their chairs as they are. There's a grave amount of risk working with these people, because most of the time, with it being autoimmune disorder, the body can fight the process. We've got medications that we have to worry about, with different disorders of the blood that we have to worry about. So all of these things will affect down the road. And if you are an unexperienced artist and have not specialized in these specific areas, you could actually cause a tremendous amount of damage by literally not preparing the clients or for the pre or the post care, because we're opening tissue, and allowing for the environment to be accessible, and you could end up getting an infection, where with someone that has diabetes, it could literally really make them sick to the point that they could die. So
it's incredible what you do. And you are basically the most certified and experienced person in Canada, from what I read. Over 60 certifications. I don't even know how you find the time, but honestly, if you want to go see, so I can imagine people would fly in for this. Like, they would come in. You're in Vancouver area, right?
Yeah, I do have some. From all over. I have clients as far as Singapore, Canary Islands, Africa, Costa Rica. that they do fly in. They call in months in advance and say, oh, I'm coming into Vancouver, this time. Can we set up an appointment? So I do have clients that fly in, of course, and I'm very privileged and feel very blessed to have that. But generally, most of my clients are local, and I'm able to maintain them on a regular basis.
And you're also an instructor. So you teach others how to do this around the world. We were just, you're mentioning that you just got off a call from a lady in Sicily who is, who's training with you, and even including an interpreter. It's mind-blowing, and what you're doing. And now with COVID, has that really affected you? How's that been going?
Why I've pivoted. So I had started off 2020 because it has taken me so long to bring this technique to the world. There's just so many elements behind it that I needed to resource and have accessibility to. But 2020 was going to be my launch year, where I was going to start having classes, like, actual physical classes. And then when COVID hit, that just put a whole wrench in it. And, I had to come up with a way on how can I still teach this, but utilize it in a way that people around the world can benefit from it. So with the help of one of my instructors from London, her name is Vicky Martin, she teaches via Zoom. She was so gracious. And the one thing I have to say about the permanent makeup industry is that there's a lot of, it's an unregulated industry. So anybody can watch a YouTube video, buy stuff at Walmart, and start doing this themselves.
Oh,
so
geez.
there's no regulations, and there's no governing body that makes sure that people are safe. This is why I hold my designation with the SPCP as a CPCP trainer at such high regard, because they have a code of ethics and a level of integrity that you have to work with in order to maintain that designation. And of course, if you start to deviate from it, they will just dismiss you from the organization. So just to give you a head's insight, it took me 6 years to get to a level of my training where I was able to qualify for the CPCP exam, take the exam, and pass it. And that's why I may be one of 3 or 4 now in Canada. I haven't looked, but as of 2 years ago, I was only one of 2 CPCP trainers in Canada. So I had to go through all the different levels of gaining knowledge and taking advanced training to get to a point where I was able to get my CPCP designation. Then from my CPCP designation, I had to take more classes in order to get my trainer designation. And then as a CPCP trainer, I have to train as a base at 100-hour fundamental class. So my hands-on SMP class is a fundamental 100-hour plus class that any new artist can take. My manual SMP class that I do via Zoom is an advanced class that you have to have, at minimum of a year, if not 2 years. And I qualify each participant that wants to take my class. And if they don't qualify to the standards that I feel, and I stalk them and I check their work. And, if I don't feel that they're going to be good for this, then I will definitely not sign them up. So I take my job extremely seriously, because I know the amount of crap that's going out there, these 2 and 3 day classes that are coming. These instructors come into town, they look all flashy, they have all this incredible, glamour in their marketing material and their videos, and it's all top notch, but there's no bloodborne pathogen training at all. And these people are literally given 2 days to learn how to hold a tool, stroke it across the skin. They do a mock-up, kind of a live person, and then they're left on their way. And we call them scratchers in the industry, and hackers, because they have learned this way and they don't know really what they're doing, and they're hurting people. And then you'll hear stories, oh, I went and had my eyebrows microbladed 6 times this year. And it's like, what?
Wow. So let's name some of these services, because I don't think everybody realizes all the different areas that permanent makeup can affect. So can you name all of the different, I know obviously eyebrows, eyeliner, There's
So
areola. There's all kinds of
yeah,
stuff.
so eyebrows, and that is all the above. So it's machine work. You're hearing a lot of nanoblade, and this is the other thing too. They're creating new names for techniques that have been around for ages. It's just that, again, no regulations, so anybody can say, "Oh, I learned this, and I'm going to call it, Betty Brow now." And then they start promoting it as Betty Brow, and everybody's, "Oh, I want a Betty Brow." And it's like, that's how microblading was born. Microblading has been around since before machine work has been done. So it's been around. I actually have microblading tools, found information that the first microblading tools were actually found up north in Canada, and the indigenous community used them for scarification to create the different tattooed markings on the faces. And they would cut the skin with a flint blade that looked like a very, ancient microblade, and they would rub in, charcoal, and that would heal as the wound and be a tattoo on the skin. So microblading has really been around for an eon age, but due to all of this new 2-day classes and I call it fast food for the, PMU world, people are mobbing onto this, and it got all this notoriety, and then the new generation takes it on like they've reinvented the wheel, but it's nothing new. Microblading has been around for over 60 years.
Yeah. And, so anybody watching this, just beware and be mindful. And if they have any questions as to if their certification's good or not good, where do they go? How can they find out if they're somewhere? Is there anywhere they can?
So any PMU artist, so going back to what the different categories, there's brows, lips, liner, scalp pigmentation, areola restoration, and scar camouflaging, which is also considered paramedical tattooing. Those areolas, scalp, and scar tattooing are all advanced classes. Like, you really shouldn't be, even microblade's an advanced class. I didn't start doing microblading until 2 years after my original certification. So again,
so some of the less known ones, like the scalp pigmentation and the areola, who are people that would need those kinds of
cancer survivors, for sure. People with alopecia, where they lose their hair. Genetic dispositions of people, men or women that are balding. People with thyroid disorder, their hair gets diffused, and a lot of it gets thinned, so we can create the illusion that there's a fuller hair by the scalp. So, it affects 60% of men and
when their hair starts
for women. So it's a huge mass population, and in the past all they've had is Rogaine, but these are topicals you have to keep using. There's Propecia that you can take internally, but again upsets the rest of the flora within your body. There's hair transplants, but as long as the DHT, which is causing the actual balding in the first place, causing the hair loss, if that's not controlled, then even a hair transplant that's going to cost $30,000 is going to end up looking terrible in like 5 years. So SMP really fills a void, and most of the people that come to us for that have already been through the powders and the pills and the serums and the implants. So they've gone through all of that, and they're at a point where, what else can I do? So scalp pigmentation has really jumped off. Like when I started back in 2010, there was nobody training, no classes available at all. And I am self-taught. So I learned all the things that you don't want to do right away. I've messed up heads. I will own it till the cows come home. But in the flip side of that, I've also learned what works. And then because of that, I started lecturing around the US at different conferences starting in 2012, when nobody was sharing this, when nobody knew about it, and creating my own techniques in colors and layering and needle configurations, and doing basically from what I brought into my background from doing makeup effects. very similar concepts. So I brought that, knowledge into this, and then started developing my technique. And then from there, I've been sharing it globally. And now it's, SMP is a very common trait or a common procedure. It's sought after. People are starting to see that they can, help their balding, and it lasts for a longer period of time, and it's going to cost them anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 depending on the artist that they seek, instead of $30,000 or $40,000 for something that may or may not work.
Right. Oh, that sounds so interesting. I got to go look up some photos. I bet you it's just amazing. I saw some of your other work, but I didn't see the one with the scalp. So anybody who's losing hair, it would create an illusion.
Yes.
Ish. So that it doesn't look so.
Making micro dots in the scalp to make it look like there's more hair on the head.
Brilliant.
Now,
Brilliant.
But one of the things, and this is why my manual technique is so cool, is because I can really fine tune it at that point. I'm all about trying to create it, make the look as natural as possible. But there are incredible artists now, and like everything, it's unregulated. You need to do your homework. I have had sadly, I have had clients come to me that have gone to someone, didn't do their homework. Oh, she was at my hair salon, thought I would start doing this, that would be great. And they just get their heads messed up completely. And then you got to go and laser it all off and then start back from scratch again. So you really need to do your homework, and there are incredible artists around the world. I will definitely say that, yes, I've created techniques that are being rampantly used within the industry, but I would not say I'm the best artist per se doing this, because for me, it's hours of doing this, and I get carpal tunnel. I have carpal tunnel all through my wrists from doing makeup for so many years. Yeah. So my body gets very fatigued very quickly, and hence why I also started creating this manual technique, because it's a lot less challenging for wrist movement. When you're doing this for hours and hours and hours and hours on end, it gets very fatiguing. So, I'm very good at getting other artists to come in, or, if you're in Australia, don't fly to me. I will happily give you a referral to somebody that is qualified and proficient in that area. So I want the best for everybody. This industry sadly is too ego based, and all about, ooh, I'm going to get rich, and ooh, I'm going to be famous. And it's not about that. It should never be about that in the first place. It should just literally be about helping those that are suffering. So you have to understand, they're so incredibly insecure when they come to you, and they've been through so much that if you botch them, it can destroy their entire self-esteem for years to come. So you really need to do your homework, and it's truly a buyer beware industry. And don't believe what you see on the internet, because a lot of these people know how to Photoshop their work and make it look fucking absolutely pristine. And I'm not a fan of that. You'll see my work as very raw. It's very, unedited. I might, blur out some wrinkles around the eyes, for the lady to just look nicer. But it's very raw, and I keep it that way because I truly believe that the clients need to know what it's all about, instead of this fake facade and the illusion of grandeur.
I feel like, however, that you would make an awesome reality TV show, botched, but in, for tattooing.
We came up with beautyink. It was actually my brother-in-law, and he was like, because we were like, well, there's LA Ink, and I'd love to do a show, and and he's like, well, why don't you be beautyink? And I was like, yeah, that's cool. Of course, I did my homework, Googled. The only other beautyink was a company down in the States, and she's beautyink.com, and she owns a hair extension company, and I don't even actually think she's in business anymore. And then within 2 years, the beautyink started popping up everywhere, and it was just, I can't even control it now. I've already had 3 trademark infringements in the last 2 months just here in BC and Alberta. So it's
we still got to get you a show. We can call it anything we want. So, okay, I wanted to also just keep raving about you. So you have been showcased on Oprah's own network, right? What was that about?
That was on Beauty Call. Beauty Call was a local-based business or show that was here with Anna and Christina's Beauty Call. They're two girls, and they used to do cooking and.
I remember that show.
So they did Beauty Call, and we did that episode, and then the OWN network bought it. So then it was showcased on OWN, and it's been all across Canada. I have had people recognize me in the Toronto airport, when I've been in Montreal, and they're like, you're that tattoo girl.
Yeah, and you've been on TV lots with your makeup artistry. Same here. It's like when you're in this industry, you kind of get called to do these weird things, like go on breakfast television and do all of these kinds of things, and because if you're going to be in it, you kind of got to be a leader, because you're, leading on trends, you're leading on ideas. You have to become that person. And so your transformation out of FX, out of makeup artistry, you told me kind of why, because of the personal connection you have. Do you miss it at all? Do you miss the makeup artistry part of things?
I absolutely miss FX 100%. I still try to be as active as I can with IATSE. Outside of with my business, there's just so much that, as a business owner, we have to do. But before COVID, whenever I would get, missing it, I would do some day calls. But now that's not possible because of COVID. They keep everything in their little bubbles. Yeah. So day calling is not really as proficient as it was before. But I would come out and do some, some tattoo work, or some Motherland aired all last season on Hulu, I believe, and I did many, many cool effects on there, ripped throats and diseases, and I hung girl and wound scars, and
oh God, I don't know how, because seriously, like I taught makeup for a quarter century, and I'd have to teach, I'd hire as much as I could, but there were times I'd have to teach a special effects section. But I'm such a queasy person, like I get queased out with the small things. Not if you've got like a personal problem, I can help you, put up a Band-Aid, but the students were brutal to me. They used to come dropping bloody fingers on my desk, and just to torture me, because I would be so squeamish, and because even the fake stuff grosses me out. I know how to do it. I can do it. I'm not like you, but I just, I don't know how you just take a certain kind of person to handle it. I just can't handle it.
It does. And you know what? And I can't say that, like, I've been told I've gotten soft over the years, because I used to be really into doing hardcore, like, mutilations and severed heads, and now I'm not able to do that either. I've gone through so much personal trauma within the last decade that has really made me super hypersensitive, which is great. I mean, I'm becoming more clairvoyant, more clairaudient. I'm becoming more empathic, which is, all fabulous to help me with what I'm doing in my business. But when it comes to film, like, I don't watch any of those CSI shows or anything that's a horror movie or gore. I just can't. It just really messes with my brain, and I don't want to have an involvement with that energy.
Do you think, because I totally am with you, like I can't even have them played in my house. I'm so highly in tuned, not saying I'm practiced, I've always naturally kind of been there. I can feel it, even though like I didn't even know it was playing. I can feel it in the energy in the house. I used to give my kids like heck about it, but like you said, you've been through a lot the last 10 years. It has most of it been because of the personal struggles, or has it just been a whole road of stuff?
It's been a whole road of
people see strong women like you, and they forget that you're a real person, and that you have, tough times in real life, and that's why I'm trying to support you guys,
Oh, you're so sweet. Well, it started, I would not be where I am today without the loss of my grandfather right off the bat. I looked after him in the last year of his life, and he had cancer. He was 93. He had a good life. Yeah. But I looked after him for the last year, and he passed away in my arms when he died. And it literally, his spirit moved through my body and completely transformed my outlook on life.
Got chill bumps.
Went up to the other side. So I'm really fearless now, because I'm not afraid to die. I have a sense of knowing where you go when you pass on. And I realized that in all the time that I'd been doing film, that I hadn't done anything to better humanity. If anything, I was just dementing the minds of young children everywhere. And I just wanted to have better legacy in my life than that, after my grandfather had done three tours in the Second World War and was literally like a hero in creating, you know, our helping to give us freedom within our lifetime. And I was like, what have I done? Nothing. So I just put it to the universe. And after 3 months, I literally got a vision when I was in the bathtub to do this. And that was it. It's flourished since then. And so he passed in January. I took my training in March, registered my business in April, found my location in August, did all the renovations myself, opened up September 1st with, you know, breakfast television. And then within 6 months, my grandmother fell, broke her hip, and died within literally 2 weeks. And then a month later, my home was destroyed in a fire, and I watched it burn on CTV as I'm at my office going, oh my God. And I was then homeless for 3 years, living between my car, my office, and the kindness of friends. Once that all got built back up, you know, I had to go through, our condo ended up in legal battle, and we had to go through a whole bunch of grief with all of that. That all smoothed itself out. And then the whole trademark infringement thing started, and that has continued. I've had 16 trademark infringement cases now just in Canada alone on beautyink, because, you know, I own the rights to the name, and anybody using it is in violation. So I've been trying to do my best to protect that. And then over the course of all of this, it's just more deaths and more, it's just continually more. I moved back into my condo, and within 6 months, the water line above my unit broke, flooded the whole unit again. And I was out for another, 8 months. So it's just kind of the ongoing sagas of life. And I truly believe that, I can sit back and laugh now, but at the end, at the time that it was happening, I was, I didn't know how I was going to get through it,
Yeah.
And you got to every day get up and still come to work and have a straight face on and know that you're doing good and do your best and and then you turn off, the last client goes home, and then you just sit there and cry and cry and cry.
Yeah.
But you just pick yourself up and keep going. And I have to say, the one saving grace has been my spirituality through all of this, because see, as a light worker,
I was going to ask you about that, because there has to be a moment where you grab onto that, and that kind of gets you through. Can you tell me a little bit about that journey?
Yeah, so I consider myself a light worker, being empathic and, having these visions and so forth. They've literally directed my life. And when I get to those dark periods where I'm literally like hanging on by a thread and going, I can't do this anymore, there's something that will just constantly be there in the back, knowing of my mind going, Shauna, it's okay. You're going to get over this. And I've come to learn that when you work in the light, the darkness will do everything in its power to take you down, no matter what it is, whether it's from a person or a natural disaster or, something outside of your realm. There's always going to be something. You'll be driving at midnight and your fucking car breaks down on the side. Your car breaks down on the side of the road. It's like, and it's pouring torrential rain. Like, it's just constantly one thing after another. But the stronger that it tries to take me down, the stronger my light.
Yeah, your light gets.
And brighter and brighter.
Absolutely. How long ago did that journey begin for you? How long's that been?
Well, I had my spiritual awakening in my 20s.
Yeah.
And that's why I got into film, actually. I had my first, I was in a really deep, dark place in my life, running with the bad underground, it was really, really dark. And I literally was on my knees crying, going, this is not my life. This cannot happen. I'm better than this. And I felt this presence. I was in my room alone in
I'm getting chills.
seedy hotel where there was still blood stains on the ceiling from the girl that had been murdered there, and cockroaches. And I felt this presence on my shoulder, touch me, and it said, follow your heart. You'll never go wrong. It's not until you jump off the cliff will you learn how to fly, and I will guide you along the way. And I took that as though it was the hand of the higher power. So whether you want to call it God or Allah or, a divine angel or whatever it is, but that voice was so strong in my head. And I knew at that moment that I had to take control of my life and that I had a better purpose. I had a bigger purpose than where I was. And so I made the changes that were necessary and got myself training and went to Toronto and got more training, and then came back to Vancouver and just hustled. And back then there was like 6 makeup effects people in town. All guys. I didn't know of any women that were doing this. There were makeup artists that are women that were doing, some prosthetics and stuff, but nothing that was like in shop and really into the gore. Yeah. So I was kind of the token girl working with all these guys, and just slowly learned, took one show after another show after another show, and never said no. I never said no. I stood out in the rain for 20 hours. I would cut sponge for 15, hours and
whatever it takes.
Anything, it's a crazy industry. Just anything to be working. I was just so friggin' happy that I was doing something I loved. Yeah. And, my career just blossomed from there because I was just known for, being a hard worker. I would show up and do the job.
That's like half. If you could just get determined, hardworking, show up, you're halfway there, and the rest can, for anybody struggling right now, you just got to have that, insane determination to make something happen. It just is kind of like in you. So you've got to go for that. We have to have lunch one day, because I just have to know you as a girlfriend. We got to know you. Do you know what the future holds for you? I know what you're kind of moving a little bit towards, and I'm kind of getting a feel for what drives you, but do you have, are you just on the same path, or do you seeing it unfold as it comes, or do you have like this vision of where it's going to go?
This has been one of my biggest blocks because I've always guided my life through the visions that I've got. Mm-hmm. And, one of the last really big ones was, moving into my new location. I literally got the vision for it and found the place, and it was exactly what I wanted, where I needed to be. And then the last vision I had was putting these classes together. I have so many ideas about what I want beautyink to be and where I want it to go. But as a one-woman show, it's very challenging to trust in other people. And when I've gotten seriously snowed by it to the, to the point of like, 10K here and 5K there. And you just start to go, oh, I can't do this. I can't get other people involved anymore. So I really try to do it all on my own, from, manning my website to building my content to doing my Instagram and my videos. And I do it all myself. So at this point, I would love to retire.
I hear you.
Sadly, COVID has made it so we can't. I've only ever wanted to be a wife that I could take care of a husband. But sadly, again, when you're a strong, independent woman, men just kind of go,
oh yeah, tell me. I was a matchmaker for a minute, and so I definitely understand that. And I was just saying that the other day. You're saying the words right out of my mouth. When you're a strong woman, it's much more difficult, and you have to constantly, even when you do find somebody, you have to constantly kind of baby them, I guess, in a way, to make them understand their importance still and stuff, because it's so strong-headed and willed. And
well, I don't want to be strong. This is not my nature. My nature is actually to be extremely submissive. Like that's my nature in a relationship, is to dote over and care for them. And really, that's my nature. Life has made me strong.
Right.
So it's funny because what people see on the outside and when they get to really know me, it's two very opposite things,
Yeah.
because they're like, oh, the more we peel back the layers, the sweeter you keep getting.
Yeah.
You know, but sadly, it's not what I show to people, because I've gone through so much. I, have walls like anybody that's gone through trauma does. And, I have a tendency of putting on my strong boots and just keep going.
Yeah.
But
Your armor, we have to wear the armor,
but
for
for the
sure.
future, what I'd like to do, is definitely, of course, train more people with Zoom throughout the world. I have a pigment that's in my head, and I'd love to be able to launch that with the concept of, how I'm doing it. I'd like to do that. But then some days I'm just like, oh, I just want to sell the business and retire.
Yeah.
So if anybody out there sees this and they want to buy my business,
there you go. I kind of did. You know what? I did retire. That's what I did. Well, I injured my back and I've got bipolar disorder. I can't handle the stress anymore of business. I've been through everything. And it wasn't very long before I felt like I had to do something to give back or do whatever. So like, you'll find, even if you do retire, I don't know, you're so used to being actively going for it. It is actually pretty hard to sit back once you get
but I think the difference between choosing to do it and having to do it.
That's right. Oh yeah, there's night and day. The stress can be unbelievable.
So
if there's anything that you could possibly think of, I'm going to do everything I can to like help your business along with whatever little tiny baby skills I have. If there's anything else you could think of, I'm also wanting to do this is kind of like a playlist called Women of the World. In the new year, get us all together on a Zoom and have like a Brady Bunch situation and have everybody give some advice and ask a question and kind of do an exchange. There's so much power in these women and strength and exchanging contacts and information and working together instead of working against each other and being jealous. Like if we bonded, there's no telling what can be done. And it's so great to have that support system, like 100%. I'm hoping.
I do my very best to mentor people around the world. I'm always commenting in Facebook group pages. Doesn't always come off right because I'm very direct and to the point, and people can get very offended very easily.
Yeah.
But I totally believe in supporting. Like you'll see even on my beautyink page, on my stories, I'll be promoting, lovely nails, or I'll be promoting, Mink Lash Lounge, or I'll, promote a hair salon or something just to, I just feel that it's really important that we do support one another and are there to create a community of strength and wellness. And when women do come to me, like, I will do my best to give them the information they need so that they know where to look or know where to find. And I have no problem with colleagues. I even support colleagues within Vancouver. I'll post, Inkspiration, for instance. She's out in Surrey and she's doing beautiful work, and I'll post her stuff. I don't know pretty much any other businesses that are in the area that will actually promote businesses that are in their network. Like in their
That's phenomenal. So, I mean, everybody knows somebody who needs your service. I don't know of a person who doesn't know of somebody. So anybody that knows of somebody, refer them on to you. So if you guys can, send this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to do something for women in business here. And the bigger this channel grows, the more power to the women we can get. So it's all about that helping you guys. I can't thank you enough for coming on with me today, and I hope it's not the last time.
I feel so blessed and fortunate that you've had me here. Thank you for letting me share a little bit. I mean, my story and my journey is vast and long, but if anyone out there just needs anything, like advice on the industry. I have students that contact me about where to train. If I don't train, then I'm happy to pass you on to somebody that does in the area. I'm here to be of service in all aspects of my knowledge. So, you know, and I will always give you the honest truth, whether you like it or not. I will be honest with you, because this industry is full of so many charlatans.
Yeah.
You know, that are just, will tell you what you want to hear, take your money, and you never hear from them again. And I'm sick of seeing it happen. I won't clean up anybody else's messes anymore. I'm getting really, really to the point where I'm just like, well, if you've been botched, you need to get that removed, and then I'll, you know, work on you again. And, you know, I just want people to do their homework, support one another. Yes, Vancouver has a mass amount of women. It's 7 women to every 1 man. And that's, I think, why there's so much conflict. Like, the competition mentality in the city is ridiculous.
Wow. I didn't know the numbers.
Yeah.
You shocked me.
So ridiculous. And women are just used to constantly, you know, going after. And I mean, I literally, this is how bad it's gotten for me personally. I was referring someone for procedures that I no longer did, referring for years. And one of the clients that I had referred came back to me, and I said, well, how did your appointment go? She goes, I got up and walked away. I walked out. And I said, why? Why is that? She goes, Shauna, the girl had nothing but bad things to say about you from the moment I sat in her chair. And I was like, what? No. She goes, yeah, she just bashed you about everything. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Not only did I help her get started in the industry, directing her where she needed to go, I had been referring clients to her for years. And then to come back and have a client of mine say this to me, I was just like, can you stab me in the heart a little harder?
Yeah, none of that. Nobody do that. Cut it out. Everybody support everybody.
Each other, man. There's enough work to go around. There's enough faces to go around. You don't need to be hurting other people to try to, you know, cut someone down to get a leg up. You know, if you see someone down, reach your hand down and pick them up and lift them up, because the more you can elevate others, the higher you will rise in the light.
Ah, what a way to leave it off, Shauna. What a way. Thank you so much, and we'll talk again. And I'm in Victoria. You got to come do lunch here or whatever. I
have my colleague Diane is over there. Diane DB Permanent Makeup. She's amazing. You should get her on this feed. She's incredible. She's a cancer survivor. She does areola tattooing for women over there. She's amazing. I love her to death. I'm happy to share the contact. But yeah, there's some great artists on the island. If you need any information, if you don't want to travel to Vancouver, hit me up. I'm happy to share my information.
Okay, well, that's that, you guys, and we'll make sure you're hooked up somehow. Yeah. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you again, Laura, for all you've done, and continue to be a beacon of hope and light for the rest and for the many generations to come.
Oh, thank you. Bye, Shauna.
Bye for now.